Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, it's the Astros and the Mets in Game 2 of their 4-game series. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Jim DeShays. Last night, the Mets claimed the opener 3-1 in a well-pitched game. Now we could get another one tonight, although Nelson Figueroa is not too well known to Astros fans, JD.
Well, this is kind of fun. It's kind of a David and Goliath matchup. You take Johan Santana, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball over the last decade, up against the journeyman Nelson Figueroa. Santana having another spectacular year, 10-6, 289. Figueroa 3-1 with a 3.38 ERA, making just his second start at the big league level this year.
That's our Jaguar Key matchup, brought to you by the 2011 Jaguar XJ. It's Figueroa, probably relievers against Santana. Maybe who's going to close for New York tonight? That could be a good question. And it's Carlos versus Carlos as Beltran takes on Lee in just a moment. By your Texas Ford dealers and the 2010 F-150. And by Jack in the Box. Another sizzler outside. The summer heat continues here in August in Houston, Texas. Tonight's HD telecast is presented by your local Lincoln Mercury dealers and the 2010 MKS. Technologically breathtaking. Reach higher with a 2010 Lincoln MKS. It's a spot start for Nelson Figueroa. It'll be his second start of the season. The first was with the Phillies, filling in for Jay Happ, ironically. And now they're both together on the Astros trying to beat the New York Mets tonight, who have this lineup as made out by Jerry Manuel. It's Jose Reyes at shortstop, Fernando Martinez in left field, David Wright at third base, Carlos Beltran in center field. Ike Davis plays first base with Jeff Francoeur in right field. Josh Tolley does the catching, batting seventh. Truman Tejada at second base, batting eighth, and Johan Santana is the pitcher.
Starting pitcher brought to you by Suzuki is Nelson Figueroa, 36 years of age, 30th round pick of the Mets back in 1995 out of Brandeis University. He's got a fastball, curve, slider, and a changeup. Swiss Army knife. Very versatile guy. Start him, relieve him, whatever it takes. Send him to AAA, go to Japan. He just wants to pitch. And defensively, it looks like this. Lee, Bourne, and Pence roam the outfield. Johnson, Sanchez, Blum in there for the injured Keppinger at second base. Brent Wallace, the first sacker. Jason Castro behind the dish.
Now the speedy Jose Reyes, an all-star this year. 27 years old. Just celebrated his 11th year in the New York organization. Checks in at 279 as he leads off this game. He has 8 homers, 43 driven in for Reyes. And he smacks one up the middle. Angel Sanchez spins, but does not get him. Infield hit for Reyes on the game's first
pitch. Sanchez, knowing full well who's going down the line, really has to hurry to unload it. And even with that, Reyes able to beat it. Joe West, the veteran umpire over there with the call. Fans didn't like it, but Cowboy Joe got it right. He was safe. And it's certainly a threat to steal.
He was thrown out trying to steal last night by Jason Castro. The Mets had 2 steals in the game. Fernando Martinez takes. There is strike one. To the left fielder with a 154 batting average. He's had 13 at-bats with the Mets and a couple of hits. He's driven in 1. Just 21 years old. He signed in 05 for $1.3 million as a free agent, beginning his professional career. In the dirt, this one trickles away, and now Reyes will take off and make second base easily. Castro failing to block it. It rolled between his legs.
Winning run came home last night on a wild pitch. Winston threw a breaking ball in the dirt. Jason wasn't unable to corral it. That one was a real tough chance. This is one that Jason should have been able to handle. Kind of looking at his glove saying, come on, pal, you let me down.
Yeah. 1-1 now with the corner infielders pinching in for Fernando Martinez. Calling that one a pass ball. And that one's fouled away. So 1 ball, 2 strike count. The Mets have been offensively challenged this year. They are 13th in runs scored in the National League. They won last night 3-1. They had 7 hits in the game. Emmanuel's club at 500, 59-59, 10 games behind the front-running Atlanta Braves. It's yanked foul. 1-2. Nelson Figueroa was with the Mets in spring training. The 36-year-old right-hander pitched well enough, many people thought, to make the club, but there wasn't room for him, so he went back to the minor leagues. Then he was claimed on waivers by the Phillies, and the Astros also got him on waivers from the Phillies in July. Drafted by the Mets in '95. He was originally scheduled to pitch last Saturday, but he had to have a procedure, so he was moved back today as Jay Happ took that start on 4 days rest. And now Brad Mills hoping Figueroa can take him to the middle innings of this ball game tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, his start got pushed back, and he ends up drawing Johan Santana. Bad timing.
That's line foul.
You mentioned the Mets at 500. They've been a game or two within either side of 500 every day since July 24th. So kind of win one, lose one, kind of treading water. Haven't been hitting a lick, but they're pitching good enough to keep them in a lot of games.
We saw that last night. Jonathan Nice and 3 relievers winning at 3-1. Pitch is high, it's 3-2.
Figueroa is a New York guy, born in Brooklyn.
He has started 1 game previously against the Mets, appeared in 6 games total with no decisions and a 3.78 ERA. Career record of 16-29 in the big leagues for Figueroa. Smashed into right center field. Reyes around third, coming home to make it 1-0 Mets on the RBI single by Martinez. His second RBI.
That bat there by Martinez ultimately wins as he goes down and gets a low fastball and wraps it up the middle. Run right there. Good enough to win for Santana last time. He pitched a shutout against the Rockies.
David Wright with 17 homers, 77 runs batted in. Carries a batting average of 292. Nice ball, good for strike one. Wright's on a 4-game hitting streak. Last night he had a big game, 3 for 4 with a steal. Made some good plays at third base as well last night. David, 27 years old. He hit only 10 homers last season for the Mets. Playing that huge ballpark, City Field in New York. 0-2 to David Wright. When he came up to the big leagues, he was the 129th different Mets third baseman since their franchise started in 1962. First year in the majors was 0-4 for David. Fouled that one back. Like he was bailing out a little bit on that one. Backside headed for the Mets dugout, but the bat got to the ball and he fouled it. Stay alive at 0-2. He was beamed last year. Has moved further from the plate. Fouls it back. And a lot of his hits last year came to right field, but they were not hit very well. So one thing he was working on early this season in spring training was driving the ball more to right field, getting his legs into the swing and really committing to it instead of just flipping the ball over the second baseman for a little pop fly hit into right field. Martinez not known as a big base stealer. 1-2 to Wright. The Astros have lost 6 in a row to New York. That's their longest losing streak to the Mets since the 1985 season. Wright has not driven in a run in the month of August. And he has 1 extra base hit this month, going 8 for 48. It's on the edge for a strike, and very well thrown by Nelson Figueroa for strikeout number 1.
Put that outside corner with a good two-seam fastball. Just a little running action back towards the corner. Castro sitting out there framing it well. Who's rained out on Carlos Beltran.
Well, he had probably his best game of the year last night with a homer, going 2 for 3 with a walk. Made some good plays in center field. He carries a 5-game hitting streak into this one. Good pickup there by Castro out of the dirt on ball 1. Beltran, I think he said in one of the articles in the New York papers that the first year he came back to Houston as a member of the Mets, the booing kind of surprised him, but since then he just shrugs it off, laughs about it.
You know the old Reggie Jackson sign, they don't boo nobody.
Runner going. Castro with a throw. It's a hit. Wow. That's waiting for Martinez to slide right into the Sanchez tag. Tremendous cannon shot there from Castro.
We've talked about this a lot with Jason. For a big man, he's very quick. And he gets up into that throwing position in a hurry. And then throws a laser beam to second base. This is not even close.
Now ball 3 to Beltran. Carlos, 33 years old, from Puerto Rico. And it's ball 4. He waited for Rob Drake to make his call. Third Met to reach base. And now it'll be Ike Davis coming up. Beltran has been a very good base stealer in his career, but he had knee surgery in January. He's been wearing a brace. He's 0 for 1 in stolen base attempts this season. Ike Davis, an Arizona Stater, at 245, has 15 homers. The 54 runs batted in is the lead among National League rookies in runs batted in. And he was an Arizona State teammate for 3 years of Brett Wallace. Back going to Davis. Wallace played some third base his junior year while Davis was at first base.
Like the son of former Major League pitcher Ron Davis, spent 10, 11 years in the big leagues. Lead pitcher with the Twins, the Yankees, and others.
1-1, so he has a great baseball background and showing that he really wants to lay claim to that first base job for a long time to come in New York. Last night, Mike Hessman, a right-handed batter, played first against the Astros lefty Wandy Rodriguez. It's 2-1 for Davis. Ron Davis from Houston. Infield shifted around. Sanchez playing up the middle for Davis. That's in for a strike to make it 2 balls, 2 strikes to Ike Davis. Last 10 games, he's 2 for 19. Jerry Manuel's club on a 7-game road trip. We'll go to Pittsburgh next over the weekend. Grounded foul, and the Mets have really struggled away from Citi Field. They are 23-37 on the road, and they've dropped 13 of their last 18 on the road. And now what has happened? Well, they've lost their closer, Francisco Rodriguez. Placed him on the disqualified list tonight. Called up reliever from Buffalo, Igarashi. So they have a real challenge at the end of ball games now, although it was addressed very cleanly last night by Takahashi with a 1-2-3 ninth inning to get his first save and a 3-1 Mets win.
And it disqualified K-Rod for the rest of this year with no intention of paying him, and have left the option open to void his contract, so that would set up a legal battle.
This one is going to drip back toward the seats.
Also converted his contract from a guaranteed contract to a non-guaranteed contract so that they could release him at some point next spring training and not owe him the remainder of that contract. Again, this is all if this stand. I'm sure there'll be a grievance.
Yeah. Well, we just got the resolution of the Sean Chacon grievance. He lost, and the Astros did not have to pay him after he was released. There's a nice gesture as the youngster winds up with a baseball. 3-2 with 2 outs, the runner going, and it's bounce foul. So the Mets mean business as far as K-Rod, who injured his thumb and has to have surgery on that thumb after getting in a fight in a domestic squabble in the family room at Citi Field. Jerry Manuel getting quite a blow when he found out about that torn thumb ligament for K-Rod yesterday. Now it's going to be closer by committee in the Mets bullpen, they say. That's a liner left field corner. It's slicing and goes foul again. And we understand that the contract of K-Rod also had incentives in there, JD, that if he had reached something like 80 games finished this year and next year combined, something like that, that contract would have rolled over for 2012. So this inactivity is probably going to take him out of that possibility of rolling it over.
The option would become guaranteed if he remains healthy, has 100 games finished this year and next, including a minimum of 55 next season.
This will be the 10th pitch to Davis. The runner going, and it's ball 4. So a struggling first inning here for Figueroa. Finds him facing Francoeur with 2 men on and 2 out.
And an early visit from Brad Arnsberg. We know full well in that Astros dugout how important this first inning can be. And let's put a big crooked number on the board with Johan Santana going to the hills. Could be a real uphill battle.
Figueroa really would love to be a starter, and he has been a starter 50 times in his major league career. 127 total appearances, so it's a big opportunity for him. He was telling me about that arteriogram which he underwent on Wednesday, and it came back normal. But he said his wife was reading the reports about it, and said she told him, gee, it looks like you missed a start because of a headache. He said, well, I wanted to downplay it. And then he told me what really happened, and he did downplay it quite a bit. It was a little more serious than characterized, a lot more serious than characterized. Jeff Francoeur had a big game last night. And that one goes foul, strike one. Francoeur had the RBI triple in the 9th inning. 1 for 3 with a walk, then crushed the line drive to third in the 7th inning last night, too. 236 for Jeff, 11 homers, 48 runs batted in.
Nelson had problems before?
No, but he said it didn't bother him when he was running or throwing a bullpen, only when pitching in a game. And he said what happened was he came out to pitch and threw a pitch, and he felt a pop right behind his right eye. And after that point, he didn't really have the sensation that he was throwing the ball where his mind was telling him he was throwing it. Very weird stuff. And he got through the inning, and then he came off the field, went into the clubhouse, and the lights in there they seemed so bright to him that he got a migraine headache. So in checking it out, they thought, well, let's check it for blood clots. And they did the arteriogram. And at one point they thought it might have been kind of like what Larry Dierker had. But that was ruled out after doing the test. Larry had the grand mal seizure, you may remember.
Right.
2 and 2. So they shot the dye up through his groin and on up into his brain. Everything came back clean. And it was a real relief for him to find out. But when he went in for the procedure, the doctor said, well, when you wake up, you might have had brain surgery.
Oh, wow. Wow. This is either nothing or brain surgery.
Yeah. So they just didn't know and had to do that test. But fortunately, everything fine.
So did they ever say what it was? What caused it?
They don't really know for sure. They thought maybe a pinched nerve, so they treated him for a pinched nerve, I think in the shoulder area, and said you should be fine for 2 to 3 months, and then you need to be retested. Swing and a miss, and Francoeur is down on strike. Figueroa battles his way through the first with the Mets getting a run on 2 hits and stranding 2, 1-0 New York. Blum at second, filling in for the injured Jeff Keppinger. Jason Castro is the catcher for Nelson Figueroa.
Well, let's see what Suzuki has to say about Johan Santana. Well, we'll get to that momentarily.
Michael Bourne looks at ball 1 from Santana. Michael did not start last night's game. And he and his manager were looking at some bunting tapes. There's a single through the middle. That'll work to get him on. And the league stolen base leader is on the leadoff single against Santana. He is now 3 for 5 against Santana in his career.
Suzuki says fastball, slider, changeup, and that changeup one of the best in the business. And how about this number? 64 and 20 in his career after the All-Star break. A .762 winning percentage. That's the best in baseball history.
Angel Sanchez faces him next. Santana, as you pointed out, they thought he was tipping his pitches, so he's dropped his hands to avoid that. Sanchez will get a 1-0 pitch as he hits 282 with no homers, 15 runs batted in.
Yeah, he likes to throw that changeup so much, and sometimes a changeup, a pitch you have to dig for in your glove. And the thinking was that he was fanning his glove a little bit when he grabbed his changeup.
1 ball, 1 strike. Well, if he's been tipping his pitches, has a career record of 132 and 66 with a 3.10 ERA. Watch out.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he was tipping it throughout. Probably was tipping it that day in Philly when he gave up 10 runs.
Yeah.
So, back at the beginning of May. Got a couple bumpy ones since then, but for the most part has been good. I mentioned it in the pregame of the Open. 15 times he's allowed 1 run or no runs this year.
Shut out the Rockies on a 4-hitter Thursday, striking out 10. That's a liner into right center. Bourne takes a look. Beltran makes a clean play on it. Throws into the cutoff man. And it's first and second, nobody out as Bourne and Sanchez hit their way aboard.
Hunter Pence has really been swinging the bat well lately, so the Astros with an early chance to answer that singleton the Mets put on the board. Other way, a good solid approach for a lot of hitters against Santana, right-handers in particular, because of that good changeup. If you're trying to turn on him and he's got his changeup going, you're going to have a tough night.
16 homers, 62 driven in for Hunter Pence at a .285 average. He's on a 5-game hitting streak, 10 for 19. Takes ball 1. Hunter has been working in batting practice on hitting home runs to right field. Had a little contest going today, and his teammates are kind of cheering him on as he was hitting balls out around that 373 mark to right center.
If only they would throw it straight at 62 miles an hour in the game like they do in BP.
Yeah. Well, he and Jeff Bagwell came up with that routine for batting practice. Of course, during the game, he just hits, but that's something he has been working on, is hitting the ball hard to the right of second base, Jeff said.
Yeah, just trying to not pull off. Stay through the ball.
In the dirt, there's the stop by Tolley. 2 balls and a strike to Hunter. He's been in a good spot for a while. He's been on base 21 straight games. That's a career-long streak for Hunter. Had 3 hits in back-to-back games on Saturday and Sunday. That's the 3rd time in his career he's done that, and the 1st time since '07. So Brad Mills hoping Hunter Pence can keep pounding the ball the way he has been.
A lot of hitters in BP, the first round, they'll just try to hit the ball the other way, not try to really drive and just stay on the ball.
There's a blast to left. Hunter Pence has pulled this one for a 3-run homer. Number 17 for Pence. Giving him 65 runs batted in, and the Astros jump on Santana for a 3-1 lead with nobody out.
Wow, how about an ambush? Talk about Santana's changeup being one of the best in all of baseball, and it is. But that one was a hanger.
And he's hanging there above that left field wall area, too, as it made its way out of the ballpark over the Crawford boxes. Now Carlos Lee just took strike 1. It was a bomb from Hunter. Carlos hits that one in the air. David Wright coming over will not get a play on it. 0-2. So maybe by really emphasizing hitting the ball to the right field area, JD. He's able to stay back a little bit longer. Maybe if he hadn't been doing that for the last couple weeks, he might have pulled that one foul.
Yeah, he might have pulled off of it, might have missed it. But I think that's, before he hit that home run, I was talking about what hitters typically do in BP. A lot of guys will just try to hit the ball. Hey, every time I say that, we hit it hard.
And this one over the left fielder, Martinez. Lee will head for second base. And he has a double. He crushed that one. Martinez was backpedaling. Didn't really play it very well, but the ball was hit hard off the left field wall.
Pretty ugly effort, but real good swing of the bat by Lee. I'm just never going to be able to finish this point. Every time I start talking, they hit a line drive or a home run.
They don't mind. Just keep talking.
Yeah, Martinez not play that well at all. That's a two-base hit for Carlos Lee. Anyway, what a lot of guys do is in BP, they just try to hit the ball the other way for the first round. And then they'll start to hit the ball where it's pitched. And they'll use real good fundamentals, good mechanics throughout. And then in the last round, they'll just for fun start trying to jerk the ball out of the ballpark. And a lot of times I think, well, you've wasted all that good work. You're kind of working on staying in and hitting the other way. And now you're just starting to lift the ball 600 feet. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's the thinking. Even in that last round when you're just trying to juice it, go ahead and hit it out, but try to hit it out the other way.
Chris Johnson has been pounding the ball. There's ball one to Chris. 365. 6 homers, 35 runs batted in for Chris. And last night he was right on it again. He had 2 hits and he lined out to third. Then he was walked intentionally his last time up.
So what a lot of guys try to do is they try to hit the ball the other way in batting practice.
just keep talking. It's working.
I don't want to cheat him,
2-0.
He doesn't need my help. My goodness.
Wow. Well, he leads the league in runs batted in since the All-Star break at 27. He's hitting .440 on this homestand with a homer and 6 runs batted in. .404 in August, and on and on and on it goes with the great Chris Johnson numbers.
A little upset at himself there for chasing that changeup, but that's how Santana makes his living. He gets you in a fastball count, throws a good changeup.
Santana's fastball at 90. It's about where it has been this year most of the time. 3-1. So he's lost a few miles per hour over the last few years. He was in the Astros farm system. He's 132 and 66. 3.10 ERA. And then really blossomed with the Minnesota Twins after being taken by Florida and traded in the Rule 5 draft.
Somebody must have taught him that changeup along the way.
Yeah.
Just imagine a rotation of Santana, Oswalt, Clemens, and Pettit.
Aaron McNeil was a power hitting first baseman who was protected on the Astros roster that winter when this man was taken in the Rule 5 draft. Reyes backpedals in shallow left field. And at last, the Mets say we have one man out here in the first inning. Santana had a string of 16 and a third consecutive scoreless innings until this one came along. Brett Wallace faces him now. 275 for Brett. No homers, 5 runs batted in. Let's see where the left fielder's playing him. Last night it was Angel Pagan who held him to a single on a ball just inside the third base bag. He was playing over toward the line and left. They strike one, and I talked with Brett about that, and he said, yeah, I was a little surprised too to see how quickly he got to that ball. But Pagan made some really good plays last night in left field. Now Martinez is playing more where most left fielders play.
And more of a straight up positioning, and they were strong pull in the infield. They are again tonight, but isn't it really extremely shifted the other way, or the pull side for him?
Left-handed hitters actually have hit better against Santana, 272 compared to right-handed hitters, 230. That's how far right is from the bag at third. Beltran straight away at center. Wallace flips it foul. That was quite an Arizona State club with Wallace and Davis corner infield spots.
Wallace and Davis.
Yeah.
That was the singing duo in White Christmas with Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye.
Wow.
Wallace and Davis.
Who knew?
Sisters, man.
They're all over it. 1-2.
Wallace and Davis.
Wallace and Davis. Well, Phil Boudreau says we should honor the Mets and all the third basemen they have had over the years by paying tribute to a different one every inning. So it's Edgardo Alfonso this inning. Back in '99, Phil said he remembered a game. Alfonso went 6 for 6 against the Astros and hit 3 homers.
He's a good player. Hurt his back. Cost him a couple of years probably. Good change up there. You're usually going to see Santana throw his slider more to the lefties, but he will mix in the occasional changeup. Time he had Brett out in front and over the top. But pretty good one in their dugout right now. They hit Coach Howard Johnson.
Yes. 30-30 man on a pop, good speed. Jeff Blum is the second baseman now until we find out what the situation is with Jeff Keppinger. Blum at 265 with no homers, has driven in 16. And he's the guy until Keppinger's able to play again. Keppinger has a toe injury, and there was a fracture that showed up on the X-ray, but then he went for an MRI, and that had not been read as of game time, so not too sure about the extent of that injury, but he came in a soft boot, they said today. Left during the game with that injury last night with Blum taking over at second base late in the game. No balls, 2 strikes. So that might have been an old fracture that showed up on the X-ray. Not too sure at this point. Keppinger came in about the time the guys were coming out for batting practice. So they are missing one of their best hitters for this game.
Especially with a lefty on the hill.
Yeah. 1-2 to Blum, and Blum has not had much work against left-handers. Just 20 at-bats with 1 hit. So we'll know more probably after the game about Jeff Keppinger and the extent of that injury. All the way, still a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
Well, both these pitchers really working awfully hard in the first inning. Nelson Figueroa threw 35 pitches. That one there was number 28 for Santana.
Santana is 2-1 in his career against the Astros. His ERA against them is 2.52. 28 pitches. That one off the mitt of Tolley, and he scrambles for it. Carlos cannot advance to third. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That ball took Tolley over there. Actually, not very far from third base at all. It would have been a short throw for him if Carlos had tried to advance. Not a good idea with 2 outs in the inning here.
Right, and if the ball's in the dirt, as you're taking your secondary lead, you kind of anticipate taking advantage of the mishandle. But a pitch like that was never in the dirt. It was just boxed by Tolley. Had his glove turned the wrong way.
Hopper, David Wright throws to get Blum on the stretch by Davis, and the Astros put a 3 spot on the board. On 4 hits, they leave a man. It's 3-1 Houston.
September 18th, the Astros battle the Reds at 6:05 in a Central Division showdown. Stick around after that game and enjoy a concert with Texas country music legend Robert Earl Keen. Enjoy an exciting night of baseball and music. To get your tickets for that one, go to astros.com/REK. That should be a lot of fun, guys.
Wow, yeah. Didn't realize he was coming. Well, yeah, that makes that a night to mark down on the calendar now. Youngsters watching intently.
Good, feeling good again.
Josh Thole takes strike one. Thole, a .299 hitter. One home run, has 7 runs batted in. Good looking young catcher. 0 for 1 in the game last night. He had a 7-game hitting streak that ended on August 14th. He's coming in for some pretty good playing time behind the dish. Blanco was the starter last night. Thole came in late, bounced into a double play in the 9th inning. It's 2-1 for 23-year-old Josh Thole from Breeze, Illinois. And he fouls it away.
So imagine Nelson working awfully hard there in the first, but able to limit the damage to just the 1 run. But you'd love to come out and have an efficient second inning. And a lot of times you're set up to do just that because you're down at the bottom of the order. He's got 7, 8, 9 to do here.
Little bouncer brings in Sanchez, and he can't get it out of his glove to make a throw. That ball hit very slowly, and Thole reaches with the leadoff bouncing single to short.
Just a little chop swing, a little high bounding ball out there. Sanchez had a long way to go and then couldn't get the clean handle on it and opted not to make a throw. Probably a wise play.
Yeah.
That's when you launch down the right field line.
Ruben Tejada is hitting 180, no homers, 6 runs batted in. He is on a long hitless streak, 0 for 25 since July 16th. That one heads for right center. Michael Bourne calling. And that's out number 1. There were 65 pitches thrown in the first inning tonight.
A whole lot of work. This date in Astros history is brought to you by the MD Anderson Cancer Center, making cancer history. 1972, Lee May, in May, 4 hits, 3-run home run. Drives in 5. Cesar Cedeno homers, drives in 4. And the Astros beat the Expos in Montreal 17-5.
That was a pretty good Astros offensive club in 72. Johan Santana has 8 hits, including a homer and 2 doubles. Round to bunt. And taking ball 1 from Figueroa.
You saw Neese pull the bat back and take a hack last night, and with 1 out in the inning, you always have to be prepared for that. And Chris Johnson very aggressive coming in from third base.
He's in tight.
You got to swing the bat here.
2-0 to Santana. Santana was taken in the Rule 5 draft from the Astros by Florida and then traded immediately to Minnesota, where he blossomed into one of the top pitchers in the game. 31 years old. He's from Venezuela. Astros signed him in 95, lost him in 99. Bounces one over. Johnson up the left field line into the corner. And now here's a stop sign at third for Thole on a bouncing double by the pitcher Santana. That is executing to perfection with the third baseman pulled in.
I mean, Chris Johnson almost gave him no choice but to pull the bat back. Would have been very difficult to get a sac bunt down unless he just pushed it down the first baseline. But you know, an opportunity provided there when you come that hard, come that close. Against a guy like Santana who handles the bat pretty well. If you got a pitcher up there that can't hit a lick, you can be very, very aggressive. But a guy that handles it a little bit, you got to be a little wary of that play.
Jose Reyes looks at ball 1. Reyes reached on a hit up the middle. Came around to score in the first on a Martinez single. Ray shoots another one up the middle. Sanchez there. Throwing to Wallace. And totally scores to make it 3-2. He's out number 2. Goes from 6 to 3. Santana to third base. And Martinez will bat. Henry and Jackie Onken are here celebrating their 50th anniversary.
That's the golden anniversary.
Oh, yeah. There's ball 1 to Martinez. Roy Oswalt starting tonight for Philadelphia. He gave up 2 in the top of the first to San Francisco. Now the game's tied 2-2. Middle of the 6th inning. Oh, the Phillies have just gone up 4-2 in the bottom of the 6th. 1-1. Phillies should be getting Ryan Howard back this week, they say, and also Chase Utley.
Yeah, Utley's in there tonight.
Okay. He's back way ahead of schedule. Two balls and a strike.
He's on my fantasy club and we're in the playoffs, so we couldn't wait. We had to call him up. I texted Kerfeld, hey, get him to Philly.
Charlie has a lot of power in that organization.
Enough of this. He needs to get his timing down. I need some numbers.
Fly ball goes out to left. Carlos Lee positioning himself. And it's out number 3. It's 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 man left. 3-2 Astros in the second.
Chevy is a proud sponsor of youth baseball programs throughout the state of Texas. For more information on Chevy's commitment to youth baseball, go to ChevyTexasBaseball.com. Brownie, back to you.
Thanks, Bart. It is kind of a wild one. And these two teams have been pitching well for the last week. The Mets have had 7 straight quality starts. The Astros 6 in a row. Now in the bottom of the 2nd inning, Santana would have to go 5 more innings without giving up any more earned runs for this to be a quality start for him. He faces Jason Castro. That throws strike 1. Jason, a 191 hitter with 2 homers, has 6 runs batted in. He was 0 for 4 last night. He did a good job blocking the plate on Joe Francoeur in the 9th inning. It's 1-1. Phil Boudreau has a list of all these former Mets third basemen. Don Zimmer, former Mets third baseman. Also Mike Covich.
Zim played 14 games for the Mets in their inaugural season in '62. And I think it was like 4 out of 52 or something like that, 077.
Oh, that'll get you released.
Wayne Graham.
Okay.
Played third base for the Mets for a little bit.
That's right. Wayne lost a couple of recruits when they signed yesterday.
Jamison Tyon of the Woodlands, the number 2 pick overall in the country, signing with the Pittsburgh Pirates. A little over $5 million, I believe, the reported figure. And Dickie Thon Jr. also opted to sign and start his professional career.
2-2. And Bryce Harper signed with the Nationals. He was the first overall pick. It was something like under a minute to go before the deadline.
Can we please have a little bit more? No. All right.
That's some kind of deadline pressure there. Well, he's been a catcher, but he's going to be converted to a right fielder. 3-2 coming. And that is strike 3 for Santana. Strikeout number 2 for him. Our Jack in the Box standings will show you the National League's best team batting averages since the All-Star break. The Cardinals 287, then the Astros and Brewers 275, followed by the Phillies and the Cubs. Jeff Bagwell does not want any credit, but he's getting some anyway. Nelson Figueroa takes strike 1.
After the way things went last night, and then with Santana on the mound tonight, he was probably a little anxious, but his boys got off to a good start. 4 consecutive hits, 3 runs to start the ball game.
Grounder fielded by Davis, and he leads Santana to the base. 2 outs. Oh, it was like old home week around the batting cage as Craig Biggio came over to say hello to Jeff. Michael Bourne smacked a single up the middle and scored in the first inning. So Biggio been around this weekend, came back today. We'll probably see a lot more of him next few weeks. Baggy's getting ready to go on a long road trip to Florida, Philadelphia, and New York. There's Cheo, Enos Cabell. It's Astros Icon Week. Michael showing bunt that time, and it's ball 1. Ed Wade was
Come on, Cheo.
What's Cheo doing?
He missed.
Oh, missed. He didn't ever miss. There's a liner to left center field by Michael. Fielded by Beltran, but that's not going to prevent Bourne from going to second, and he is out.
Not a bad try, though, 2 outs.
Tejada with a tag on an 8-4 play. And in the second inning, it's no runs a hit. Nobody left. Ooh, was that close for Angel Hernandez. 3-2 Astros.
is always more fun with a group, so bring your team, church group, or family to Minute Maid for your next outing. All it takes is 20 or more people to enjoy discount pricing on tickets. For more information, call 1-800-ASTROS-2 and ask about fundraising opportunities. Bill.
Thanks, Bart. Jeff Blum underneath this first pitch pop-up by David Wright. Out number 1, Nelson Figueroa. Nelson shut out the Astros on the final day of the season last year at Citi Field in New York. He made 10 starts for the Mets, going 3-8 with a 4.09 ERA for a total of 16 Major League appearances last year. Carlos Beltran walked in the first inning. And looks at the Figueroa fastball. Figueroa graduated from Brandeis University. Pitched for Arizona in 2000. Been traded by the Mets to the Diamondbacks. 2 balls, no strikes. We move along to Phillies, Milwaukee, and Pittsburgh.
Also pitched in the Mexican League. Pitched in Taiwan.
Little international travel. Plum over Wallace. That's down the count. 2 outs for Figueroa. He could use a quick inning here. He's thrown 54 pitches, and Brad Mills didn't know for sure how many pitches to expect from him. He said we'll just have to wait and see how the game goes. He said he's capable of staying in for a while.
Yeah, he's used to being in this role, moving in and out of the bullpen.
Mike Davis was a first-round pick in 08, as was Brett Wallace. Strike one. Davis, the 18th player drafted that year. He was born in Edina, Minnesota.
Then when Ron was playing for the Twins.
Must have been. Went to high school in Scottsdale, Arizona. And he helped his team to 3 straight Arizona 4A titles. His teams were 93-8. 1-2. Figueroa 16-29 with a 4.43 ERA. And 1 complete game. Little roller out to the left side, fielded by Johnson. Gets a lot on that throw. It is a quick 3rd inning for Figueroa. The Astros leading after he throws 9 pitches, 3-2. Houston is brought to you by Chevy, by Comcast, and by Verizon. It's 3-2. The Astros lead it. Angel Sanchez was a part of that 3-run first inning. He singled to right center and rode home on the Hunter Pence 3-run homer. Fouls it back there, strike 1. Astros 4-3 on this homestand, and at home since May 30th, they've gone 21-14. Jam shot into shallow center field, and that will fall in for a hit. Beltran far too deep to do anything about that. And Sanchez is 2 for 2.
Like a pitcher changing speeds, he hits one hard and then one soft, and he's 2 for 2.
Yeah, number 6 for the Astros. Santana shut out Cincinnati 3-0. And his next start back in July, he shut out Atlanta for 7 innings, 3-0. Last time out, 4-hitter, shutting out Colorado. Hunter Pence puts one in the air, right field line. Tejada angles over. He gets there for the catch. 1 out. There have been 3 times this year where Santana has had back-to-back starts without giving up runs. And in late May and early June, he had a total of 15 shutout innings over 2 starts and didn't get a decision.
I like the tenacity with which he threw that last inning. He came after that rough inning last inning. He was very aggressive, kind of, and that look in his eye, like, I'm coming after you guys. You think you have me on my heels? Not so much. We'll see how it plays out, but that's what the great ones do. One bad inning is going to not shake their confidence.
Unanimous Cy Young Award winner for the Twins in 04, going 20-6 with a 2.61 ERA. Very good competitor. 1 ball, 1 strike. And the next year, he was 3rd in the Cy Young voting. And in 06, he won his 2nd unanimous Cy Young Award. 19-6 with a 277. Great years strung together for the Minnesota Twins. 2-1. Santana signed a 6-year deal with the Mets for $137 million. That's a foul tip. And a strikeout for Santana. That's number 3 for him. Ken Boswell and Elliot Maddox were both Mets third basemen. Boswell later became one of the Astros' best pinch hitters. A lot of people might remember Maddox more as an outfielder.
Yeah.
He did play a little third for the Mets. Chris Johnson popped a short after he worked the count full in the 1st inning.
Ed Charles, the glider.
Yeah.
How about Chico Escuela? What position did he play? He's more of a utility guy, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah. Baseball been very good to me.
Very good to Chico.
Chico Escuela. What a character. 1-1. Who was that actor on Saturday Night Live?
Garrett Morris.
Garrett Morris, yeah. He did a great job of that character.
He had the book, Bad Stuff About the Mets.
Yeah.
Tom Seaver took up 2 parking spots.
That was classic. Big cut by Johnson. It's 1-2 to CJ. The Marlins are leading at Pittsburgh 5-0 in the 6th inning with Ricky Nolasco on the mound. Zach Duke started for the Pirates. Astros will be at Florida this weekend. High to left field, headed for the corner. Martinez coming over, and he gets it. No runs, a hit, and a man stranded. Through 3, it's settling down. The Astros in front by 1, 3-2.
want to invite you to join the Astros on Wednesday, September 1st to honor a broadcasting legend. Before the Astros face off against the Cardinals at 105, Milo Hamilton will be honored for 65 years of broadcasting excellence. Enjoy $6 50-cent terrace deck tickets for that one. And you can go to Astros.com to get those tickets. 65 years, Brownie.
Wow.
All I can say is wow.
Yeah, that's right. Still going strong. There's ball one here in the fourth inning. Nelson Figueroa to Jeff Francoeur. Francoeur struck out with 2 men on to win the Mets first. They'd scored a run. He fouls that one back, 1-1. The 9-pitch third inning really helping Figueroa. He's at 61 pitches in this game. His only other start this season was for the Phillies at Arizona on April 24th. He went 5 innings, giving up 5 hits, 2 runs. Did not get the decision, filling in for Jay Happ. And in fact, with the Phillies, there was a rarity for him. He went 8 years between starts.
Between Philly starts?
Yeah, between Philly starts.
Well, they know exactly when they need him.
Started a game in 0-1. And a swing and a miss there, and he strikes out Francoeur. Strikeout number 3. Both pitchers settling in a little bit, JD.
Yeah, good breaking pitch there. Second time he's gotten Francoeur.
AT&T has trivia for us. Who hit the first home run in Mets franchise history? Let's see. Let's think about that.
Marvelous Marv Throneberry.
Yeah, that's a good guess. Let's go with that.
Gil Hodges. At Cranepool.
He came up during the season in '62. Yeah.
I was only 2. I don't remember. I remember a little bit, but I was only 2 and I was distracted.
How about Choo-Choo Coleman? 2 balls, no strikes. He was the guy who his wife came to a ball game in New York. It was the Polo Grounds, and he drove home after the game, looked around, and realized he had left her at the ballpark.
That's a bad play right there.
2 balls and a strike.
Probably didn't have cell phones back in the day.
No.
That's a hang with him right there. At least he had a lot of time to come up with an excuse by the time he got back to the ballpark.
Yeah. Line shot to Johnson. Figueroa won't mind some atom balls along the way.
No, especially when you consider the way Toley got a base hit last time, a little ground ball to short. Justice has been served.
All right. Let's see who that first home run came from. You got it, Gil Hodges, April 11th at St. Louis. The Amazons, who won 40 games that year. The book, title of that book was "Can't Anybody Here Play This Game?" I'll tell you how to toss it.
Casey's on it. Stengel, and he was asked about Cranepool and one other prospect, and I can't remember the direct quote, but something along the lines with. I think they're both like 20 years old, 21 years old. And he said, in 5 years, this guy, Cranepool's got a chance to be a pretty good player, and this guy's got a chance to be 26.
No balls, 2 strikes. Casey didn't mince words. He was great with the media, though. Really held court. Rod Keneal led the team in errors that year. Utility infielder.
That's a random Met factoid for you.
Yeah, they had a lot of errors. They went with an older team. Wallace comes over for this foul pop. He had one of those last night. He kept banging into the railing. Going full bore into that railing. Didn't they have 2 pitchers named Bob Smith?
Bob Miller, yeah.
Bob Miller. 2 pitchers named Bob Miller. Get Bob Miller up. Which one?
Whichever one wants it the most.
That's confusing.
I want the guy who's most eager.
1 and 2.
Yeah, hopefully he wouldn't say the good one. Because if you were the other one, you knew your days were numbered.
I think Casey called one of those guys by a different name. Not purposefully, but that's the way they identified him. Fly ball to center field. Michael Bourne drifting back. And once again a 1-2-3 inning. That's 8 straight outs for Nelson Figueroa. 3-2 Houston.
And it streaks toward the left field stands. It's in there for a homer. And old Bedlam breaks loose as the Giants win 5-4.
1951. The Giants win the pennant. Call. Bobby Thompson won it, and he passed away today.
86 years of age. Came from 13 and a half games back.
Yeah. Red Wallace takes strike one. He struck out in the first inning. The Astros lead at 3-2 here in the fourth. And this one heads for the left field corner. It's slicing away from Martinez and into the seats. 4 balls, 2 strikes. He came up with it. Richie Hebner and Dave Kingman were Mets third baseman at one point. Bob Aspromonte was a Mets third baseman in '71.
Kong wasn't particularly smooth over there at third base.
He wasn't smooth anywhere. Wallace strikes out. That's number 4 for Santana. And Jeff Plum will bat. He grounded out to third in the first inning. So Santana now settling in, as is Figueroa. It's kind of crazy. There was 65 pitches thrown in the first inning by these two pitchers combined, and now they're both acting as if they just shrugged that off.
That's first home run.
Into the left field corner. Blum heads for second base, and he stung that one for a double. Astros have had hits in every inning. That's his 8th double this season. That's a total of 7 hits for Houston. Good look at it. A topspin taking it into the corner.
Looked over at the dugout as if to say, hey, who knew?
Yeah. He's had a tough time right-handed this year. And he's now 5 for 17 in his career against Santana. Castro struck out looking in the second inning. Strike one for Santana. That was an unbelievable stat you gave about Santana after the All-Star break. 64-20. Tough man to beat. That's line to right field and caught on the run by Francoeur.
Tough break there for Jason, having a hard time getting anything going offensively, and to put a swing like that on one and not be rewarded, that's a little frustrating. But that is the nature of the beast. A lot of frustration in this game. Good swing, though. Last night he was up there in a big situation late with the bases loaded, bottom of the 8th inning, and he flew out to center field to end the inning. Put a pretty good swing on it, though. Hit the ball pretty well to left center. Beltran able to run it down.
Figueroa grounded out his first time up to the first baseman. Santana throws ball 1 to him. In Nelson's career, he has 16 hits. 8 runs batted in.
No gloves, old school.
Yeah. Bouncer back to Santana for the 3rd out. No runs ahead, a runner stranded through 4. It's Astros 3, Mets 2. Is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, by AT&T, and by Gullo Automotive.
It's a good shot.
Oh, yeah. Skyscrapers of downtown Houston. This is on the east side of Houston at May Park. And now it's a tight ball game as Figueroa comes out for the 5th inning, facing the pitcher Santana. Santana chopped a double over the head of Johnson. Bunting situation. There's strike 1. So Johnson now, of course, playing even with the base at 3rd.
That brought the base run over to 3rd, allowed him to score on a ground ball by Reyes. Hey, that's slick.
Figueroa, good play. That's 9 straight for Figueroa.
Rolling along. Unbelievable the way he labored in that first inning. Let me say it time and time again. If you can just dodge that big bullet early, and you're kind of wobbling with your command, and not quite comfortable on the mound, if you find your way to get out of it without taking too big of a hit, you got a chance to bounce back and pitch well, and Nelson has certainly done that.
Now it's Reyes. Reyes reached on an infield hit and scored, and he grounded out.
Brownie, would you say that in all likelihood, if you're a Major League Baseball player, if you're not the most famous person from your high school, you're among the top 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Probably. Not so, Nelson Figueroa.
Because of all those Supreme Court justices? Oh,
no,
you're talking about high school.
Not Brandon. Abraham Lincoln High School,
okay,
out on Coney Island in Brooklyn. Marv Albert, Mel Brooks, Louis Gossett Jr., Fiona Helmsley, Harvey Keitel, Arthur Miller, the playwright, Buddy Rich, the drummer, Neil Sedaka, Neil Diamond.
Good grief.
The Tokens of The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
Oh, yeah.
They went there.
William Webb.
William Webb, yeah.
Okay.
Turtle from the Entourage television show. And on and on. And not to mention all the really accomplished people like the Nobel laureate scientists and whatnot. Incredible.
What a roster.
Yeah.
So Nelson Figueroa is kind of.
Stephon Marbury, Lee Mazzilli.
Wow. Reyes walks with one out, and that's the third walk. Beltran and Davis had back-to-back walks in the first inning. Figueroa is at 79 pitches. And a lot of times, the manager will really want a pitcher in Figueroa's situation to go 5 innings. Let's try to get this guy a win. He hasn't been in the rotation. There's nobody warming up right now. Martinez the batter. But it's about winning, too. Martinez had the RBI signal in the first.
The thing that Nelson has going in his favor, aside from the fact that he's pitching well tonight, typically when you have to make those decisions, it's later in the game and you're deciding between my starting pitcher and my 7th inning guy or my 8th inning guy when I've got a lead, and those are usually the cream of the crop out there in the pen. When you're going to make a move early in the game, it's your long middle guys, and typically those guys aren't quite as good as the guys you have later on.
Figueroa, favorable position, but Reyes might be running here. He's been a fantastic base stealer over the course of his career.
The thing working against Figueroa in this situation is his opposite number is Johan Santana. So if you're Brad Mills, you're thinking, you've got this lead on Santana, don't want to give that up. I'm not sure how much more you're going to get off of him.
Reyes started and stopped. Castro came up out of the chute, but Reyes was going back to first as the pitch was called a strike. I was asking Jason Castro tonight, are you getting some feedback from the umpires around the league? Do they compliment you on the way you set up so they can see the pitch? He said, yeah, I get some of that from them. They're pretty good about letting you know. And then we've talked about this, JD. You pointed out sometimes the home plate umpire will put his hand on the catcher's back. And the big difference is if it's just lightly resting there, that's fine with most catchers. If it's more of a heavy-handed approach, so to speak, and doesn't allow him the freedom to move, then Jason said, I might suggest something to him. And, hey, it's a little tough.
Yeah, some of those guys, the old school guys, used to try to hold the catcher there because they didn't want the catcher to move late and then expose the umpire where a foul tip could knock you out.
Exactly.
I saw an example of it the other night when Q was reaching back, slapping the guy in the leg, saying, come on, I need to move. Get out of my way.
Yeah.
Can't remember who the umpire was.
Go to first. Reyes diving back in and over the Wallace tag. Reyes has been successful 80% of the time in his career at stealing.
A good quick move here by Figueroa. And pretty close. Cowboy Joe with a good look at it. Nice and calm with his call. I got this.
That makes you think it wasn't close. He does that. There's a hack by Martinez, and he's down on strikes. Figueroa still has something left on the fastball. That was 89, and that's his 4th strikeout.
Been effective upstairs on a couple occasions this evening with that fastball.
Seemed to have some hop on it. Wright struck out looking in the first and popped the second and the third. Certainly a key man for the Mets offensively. Been without their center fielder much of the year, Beltran. This ball 1 to David. David's a .309 lifetime major league hitter. Todd Zeal and Ty Wigginton were Mets third baseman. Two and 0 to Wright. Mets have had their offensive woes this year. Raised 77% on base stealing this year. They went 24 innings after the All-Star break without scoring a run. It's their longest drought since '92. Reyes is going. And it's foul back by Wright. 2 balls and a strike. Be going again on this next one.
Well, there's situations where you want your hitter taking a pitch to allow a base runner to steal a bag, but if you're David Wright and you're hitting 2-0, if you're Jerry Manuel, you want him hacking. If he gets a pitch to his liking, you want him to try to juice it, especially with 2 outs.
Wright drove in 72 last year. It's an off season for him, but he hit 307. Hard throw to first. David had 4 straight seasons over 100 runs batted in from 05 through 08. Reyes takes off. Castro with a throw. He had a big jump and he stole it. Number 24 for Reyes.
That was a breaking ball, too, that helped his cause in stealing this base. Castro still got off a pretty good throw. And they weren't going to get Reyes that time. There's the jump and a breaking pitch. Figueroa did a nice job trying to keep him close, but at the end of the day, Reyes wins the battle.
3-2. Figueroa still has some action on that fastball. Right on deck. David Wright's a 304 lifetime hitter against the Astros. Big pitch coming in this 1-run game here. Reyes takes off to third. There's a fly ball. Carlos lead back. Will he have room at the bullpen wall? He does. It's no runs, no hits, a runner stranded. Figueroa has negotiated his way through 5 with a 3-2 lead.
Below from 11 a.m. to noon. While there, sign up for a chance to be the ultimate Whataburger Whata fan. And I think you get fries with that brownie.
Oh, yeah, you get a lot with that. And better bring a bucket of ice water to plunge that autograph into. He's been so hot, it'll sear itself into the paper. There's strike 1 on Michael Bourne. Michael's 2 for 2 in this game tonight. And the Astros have out-hit the Mets 7-4 with no errors by either club. That will be a very interesting game. The way it started, 3-1 Astros after 1. Looked like it could be a wild one. ball and strike. But Brad Arnsberg and Nelson Figueroa talk about it now. Figueroa has completed 5 innings. We have some warm-up action in the Astros bullpen right now. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Brandon Lyon, if the Astros get a closing opportunity, will be the guy in that closer spot tonight. Bounce to second base. Tejada, 1 out. Jeff Fulcino's warming up for the Astros at the moment. Figueroa with those numbers for the game.
A very nice effort by Figueroa tonight. He's up around 90 pitches, so I'm assuming he's done. Stepped up and really performed well.
Arnsberg dissecting things. Sanchez the batter. He's 2 for 2. Strike for Santana. Santana has needed only 65 pitches to get through 4 to third. Hunter Pence is on deck.
About half of those in the first.
Yeah. 1-1. David Wright's even with third base. Here's the way it looks from his perspective. Out in front on the changeup. It's 1-2 to Sanchez. Santana had left elbow bone chip surgery last September after a 13-9 season. Worked 166 innings last year. A high strike 3 call from Rob Drake, and Sanchez at bat. Coors Light brings us a cold blast. Hunter Pence providing it in the first inning. 3-run job by Pence.
Santana tried to drop that changeup down on the outer part of the plate, and it was out a little bit, but certainly not down. And Hunter hammers it to left field. Just like that, 3 batters into the game, the Astros put a 3 spot on the board.
This was third career bomb against the Mets. That pitch way upstairs for ball 1. And Hunter hit a fly ball to right in the 3rd inning.
It's interesting, he gave up the home run on the changeup in the last 2 at-bats against Hunter. He stayed away from it. Popped up first pitch he saw last time, a fastball, and here a fastball to get things started. And there the off speed.
1-2. Santana has a bag of tricks. Since July 1st, he's 5-1 with a 1.88 ERA. He gets a swing and a miss, and it's strikeout number 6. After 5, the Astros lead the Mets 3-2. Cam taking you back to the second inning. Michael Bourne with a 2-out hit to center. Tried to stretch it to a double. Carlos Beltran threw him out. Very close call on Angel Hernandez. He's called out. The Coors Light Freeze Cam is brought to you by the Frost Brewed Coors Light. Really, really close.
Yeah, very close. Could have gone either way. And it's called out. Even with that, I think it was worth a try. The 2 outs, not a bad idea there to try to turn that into a double, get into scoring position.
Jeff Fulcino's in the game in relief of Nelson Figueroa, who in 5 innings allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned. No decisions for Fulcino. 2 holds, an ERA of 6.15 in 33 2/3 innings. He faces Carlos Beltran, is 0 for 1 with a walk. And there's ball 1. Very nice work by Figueroa, who allowed 4 of the first 5 batters in the game to reach base. One of the 2 runs was unearned.
Yeah, because of the pass ball, and then allowed just 1 base runner after the second inning.
Yeah. It's hard to expect much more than that from a guy who's not started since April. Now Fulcino picks it up with a 1-run advantage. Yeah.
Well, Jeff is pitching for the 5th time since coming off the disabled list. Good scoreless baseball in 3 of the previous 4, including Sunday in that finale against Pittsburgh. It's a scoreless inning with a strikeout.
Beltran grounds 1 foul. This could be a very important performance for him. That ERA that you saw earlier, he's really struggled this season.
With a tender arm, I think he had a hard time finishing his pitches. Elevating pitches, and the breaking ball didn't have a lot of bite.
Swing and a miss, and Beltran is thrown out by Castro. Fulcino opens with a K.
Lately, it seems like he's been able to get through the ball better and have that good action on the breaking stuff, and also power that fastball down and away to the right-handed hitters.
Fulcino came off the disabled list August 2nd. Right elbow tendonitis. That put him on the list since late June. Ike Davis walked and he grounded out. Infield playing him to pull. Ball 1 to Davis. Davis last year played for St. Lucie and Binghamton. A pretty big leap.
He certainly has plenty of power. 15 home runs, but he has struck out 105 times in 371 at bats. He's got a lot of action in his swing. Look at all the motion he's got. Waggle, waggle, waggle. Big leg kick, drops the hands.
High ball center. Chasing Michael Bourne back several steps. 2 down. Yeah, he sure does.
When you see that as a pitcher, you think, well, he's probably susceptible to the off-speed stuff. But the problem is if you fall behind him and then you have to throw him a fastball, he's going to put a good swing on it, as he did there.
They're watching as the Astros lead at 3-2, and Jeff Francoeur bats. He has struck out both times in this game. A lot of folks do that. They don't like to sit in their seats for 3 hours straight or whatever, so they walk around, lean on the rail, have a little conversation, spend an inning or so out there maybe, go back to their seats. Kind of a lounging area. They might get a ball out there, but that would be a massive home run. 2 balls, no strikes. And they can meander through Home Run Alley and look at the displays out there on the walls. All the Astros' top home run hitters. All the baseballs representing the Jeff Bagwell home runs out there, 449. Kind of a fun place to be. 3-0. Josh Tolley's on deck. For Fulcino. could see Mark Melanson tonight as well. Last night it was Lyon, Lindstrom, and Chassin in relief of Rodriguez. Rancourt draws a 2-out walk. Fourth walk for Astros pitching.
The slider that was called high. Fox thought it was good. And when Angel Sanchez was up there, it was a high strike call on a pitch similar. Normally, you don't expect to get that one right there.
It's Josh Tolley batting. He got the infield hit, and then he lined out to third. Johnson's playing him not too far off the line. There's ball one to Tolley. Tolley hit his first career homer, and that was going to be his last game of the Mets before being sent down, but then he wasn't sent down. Optioned out another player instead. Calls time and backs away. Yankees lead Detroit 4-2, bottom of the 7th inning in New York. CC Sabathia on the mound. Justin Verlander with 5, gave up 3 runs for Detroit. Lance Brooklyn apparently sprained his ankle. Runner going. Fly ball. Michael Bourne into left center for the 3rd out. No runs, no hits, and a man stranded. Good inning for Puccino. The Astros lead at 3-2 in the 6th. Major League Baseball's top RBI men since the All-Star break. Jose Bautista has driven in 33. Chris Johnson and A-Rod with 27, tied for second. Then it's Jason Kubel, Ryan McCann, and Mark Teixeira with 26 since the All-Star break. CJ will be due up second here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Astros leading at 3-2. Carlos Lee hits one that dribbles a few feet away from home plate. It's an easy out, number 1 on 1 pitch for Santana. Now Chris Johnson. Listen, Hunter Pence has driven in now 52 runs combined since the All-Star break. That's the top duo in the National League. Johnson batting 5th tonight. Without Jeff Capinger in this lineup. He is 0 for 2. He popped to short and hit a fly ball to left. As if Roy Oswalt is in line to get a win for the Phillies tonight. Strike one. Phillies were leading 8-3 in the bottom of the 8th against the Giants. Roy had 7 innings, giving up 3 earned runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts. 1-1. Braves lead the Phillies by 2.5. Then it's the Reds by 1 over the Cardinals. The Padres by 4 now over the Giants.
It's getting a little separation.
Miguel Tejada had a big game for them yesterday.
Central Division, the Cardinals trailing the Brewers tonight 3-1. They're in the middle innings in St. Louis. Reds, Arizona. Should be getting started here shortly. Just incredible.
That's 7 strikeouts.
He's throwing a styrofoam cup up there. It gives you all that hand speed. The thing about it is that sometimes it moves down and away, and other times it gets on the other side of it, and it has a little cutting action as it did there.
Yeah.
Normally you'd be fearful of throwing that pitch, of having it move in towards a right-handed hitter into his swing a little bit, but he gets such good hand speed, as I mentioned. It doesn't matter. He was just way out in front. You see fastball.
Red Wallace fouls at strike 1. Brad has struck out both times.
If you commit to staying back to try to handle that changeup, you're going to have an awfully tough time getting to the fastball, especially when he throws it in like he just did.
Jeff Blum's on deck. Tight ball game here in the 6th. One hopper. Reyes. And the stretch. Almost pulled Davis off the base. But that's now 8 in a row sent down by Santana. 3-2 Houston. Built for success, showing you a hit up the middle by the Mets. They got a run in the first on the Martinez single, and then Hunter Pence cracked a 3-run homer to left to make it 3-1 Houston after 65 pitches thrown in that first inning. Reyes with an RBI, and the Mets got on the board in the second inning. And then it's been 3-2 ever since then. Now the Mets come up in the 7th inning. Jeff Fulcino in relief of Nelson Figueroa. Put up a 0 in the 6th inning. Now Fulcino works inning number 7, and it's going to be Angel Pagan coming up as a pinch hitter for Ruben Tejada. Pagan started last night in left field. The off-speed pitch gets him to commit. There's strike 1 on Pagan. Pagan was 0 for 4 in last night's game.
Having a nice year, though, hitting for a high average with some power.
299.
It's interesting what Jerry Manuel's doing here, or at least contemplating doing. He's got Johan Santana on deck, so I think he's thinking if I can get Pagan to reach, Santana can bunt him over and keep Santana in the game. Hesitant to pull him the way he's pitching. I don't know if that changes if Pagan fails to reach.
Pagan's hitting .320 as a left-handed batter. That's a strike call, and he's looking back at the Rob Drake call. Gino punches him out for strikeout number 2.
He hates the Drake.
Yeah, he's pushing the limits here of Rob Drake. Santana pulls him back.
Well, John has to pinch hit here, and you can understand his frustration. But Drake has been fairly consistent up there. He's caught a lot of those high ball strikes. Not all of them, but quite a few of them.
Pagan is rung up. Now Santana bats. He chopped a double over a drawn-in Johnson. And then he grounded back to the pitcher. This ball one. Chino trying to put in 2 innings of work. He's due up third in the bottom half. This fly ball goes to left. 2 down to Carlos Lee. Red Sox are shutting out the Angels 6-0 after 8 at Fenway. Clay Buchholz started. He went 7. Now McDonald hit his 8th homer. Kalish, number 2 of the year. Red Sox trying to play catch up in the AL East. They trail New York and Tampa Bay by 5.5. Reyes has grounded out after the infield hit, and he's walked. It's an RBI tonight. He looks at strike 1. Settled down after a 4-run first inning. Total of 6 hits in that first. Also a couple of walks. And a frantic first. 1-strike to Reyes.
It's conceivable that the top 3 records in the American League this year all come out of the AL East. Red Sox at 67 and 52. Just a game behind the Texas Rangers.
Liner to center. And a hit. Reyes is on for the 3rd time.
Hey, he's annoying, isn't he?
He is.
Trying to have yourself a nice little 1-2-3 inning. Now you got to deal with him and his speed.
Yeah, it'll be very annoying.
Watson out there, as is Burdack.
There's in the best tradition of Mets leadoff man Richie Ashburn, hitting on frequently. Now Martinez is 1 for 3 in RBI. Reyes going. There's a deep drive to right field. Hunter Pence going back toward the corner, but he has room and makes the catch. No runs a hit. Man stranded. 7th inning stretch time finds the Astros in front of the Mets 3-2. And Nelson Figueroa in a position to be a winning pitcher. 5 innings, 1 earned run, and 2 runs total. 4 hits in the first 2 innings, only 1 base runner after the 2nd inning for Nelson Figueroa to win 5. Fans enjoying the 7th inning stretch. They have seen Pagan take his position in left field. He almost got tossed out of the game by Rob Drake. stays in play left, while Luis Castillo takes over at second base, with Martinez leaving after going 1 for 4 with an RBI. Santana bounces that pitch to Jeff Blum. He's retired 8 in a row. Blum doubled. Line drive to the left field corner in the 4th inning. Castro on deck. Pitcher spot due up third. His pop-up hits for foul ground. Ike Davis over. Pitch way up into the seats.
Santana's been on a nice roll here, and he's been doing it with the economy of pitches. That's 81 now, 58 of them for strikes. The Astros attacking early. The hitters probably come into a game like this going, I'm just going to take a whack at that first good fastball I see because I don't want to have to deal with that changeup.
Blum hits one sharply. Backhanded Reyes. Plenty of arm for Reyes. Wow. It's 9 straight retired by Santana. He's only thrown 81 pitches.
You mentioned Richie Ashburn last half inning. Jogged my memory because today's a very important date in baseball history.
Okay.
This is the date that Richie Ashburn back in 1957 hit Alice Roth twice in the same at bat.
Yeah.
The first one broke her nose, and then the second one hit her while she was being removed from her seat on a stretcher. And the cool part about it is, well, cool is not the right word, but the interesting part about it is she was the wife of Earl Roth, who was the sports editor of the Philadelphia Bulletin.
Well, yeah, there have been some stories told about that was actually intentional, but I don't mind.
No chance.
Richie, no, you couldn't do that on purpose. Broken bat fly ball at the right field line, looping, and it is in for a hit. An extra base hit for Jason Castro. Fan reaches over and interferes. It's a double for Castro.
Good for him. Hit the ball in the screws last time and went for a line out to right field. This time he doesn't hit it all that well, but his placement is much better. Open bat, double down the right field line for Castro. Opportunity to put an insurance run on the board.
That's a beautiful thing if you're Jason Castro. Now Jason Michaels, who is 1 for 23 in his career against Johan Santana, could be the pinch hitter for Pacino. But he's due. Dan Warren comes out, the pitching coach. J. Mike started last night's game against the lefty Jonathan Neese. He went 1 for 4 and scored a run. So lined out. 84 pitches for Santana, 61 of them strikes. Michaels is 8 for 42 as a pinch hitter with 2 homers, 9 driven in. Those are the numbers for Santana. Astros bullpen is active. No one throwing at the moment for the Mets. Mark Melancon for Houston. Strike to Michaels. Michaels has had a very high proportion of extra base hits this year. He's had 32 hits total, 8 doubles, a triple, and 7 homers. 16 of the 32 for extra bases.
You see 1 out of 23?
Yep.
For Jason against Santana?
Yep. 1 ball, 1 strike. He was talking about Neese. He said he was tough last night with that cutter.
It's probably a hard 1 for 23.
2-1. Now on that pitch, Castillo was running toward the base at second, trying to cut into Castro's lead. Castro runs pretty well.
He runs pretty well, but not so well that it doesn't make sense to try to tighten him up a little bit to give an outfielder a shot at throwing him out of home plate. If you got a real burner out there, sometimes you might tighten up a little bit to prevent the stolen base, but you're not thinking about throwing him out of home plate on a base hit. But the guy who's an average runner or a little slower, you're just trying to limit that lead to give an outfielder a chance to throw him out on a base hit to the outfield.
Mills with Jeff Keppinger down tonight. Has a shorter bench than normal. Well, we almost got him, and it's ball 4. So J-Mike takes the pinch walk. First and second one out for Michael Bourne. That's the first walk by Santana. .89 pitches for Johan Santana. Bourne has 2 singles off Santana and a ground out.
Michael given the night off last night, coming back and responding well tonight, and he has really struggled against southpaws this year, so nice to see him not only hit a lefty, but one of the best in the business.
There's a shot caught by Davis on one bounce to Reyes and back to Davis. Laced into a 3-6-3 double play. Bourne hit a rocket, but the Mets turn 2. No runs, a hit, a man left. 3-2 Houston after 7.
Visit Astros.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. We have a call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon Wireless, bringing in Mark Melanson for his second appearance as an Astro. He has a 3-2 lead. He starts the 8th inning.
Well, his first appearance was very good. Had a couple of strikeouts, showed a good heater and a good curveball. Interesting that he's got this inning. Lindstrom has been taken out of the closer's role. Assumed that Ryan would be the guy in the 9th and Lopez the 8th. Maybe one of those two fellows not available. But anyway, Mark gets a chance. It's a very important inning here against the middle of the Mets batting order.
David Wright 0 for 3. Upstairs, and it's 1-1. In that first inning as an Astro on Sunday, he worked a hitless inning with a 5-2 lead in the 7th. Then he hit the first batter he faced in the 8th and came out of the game. It was McCutcheon, but he was later erased on a double play ball. 1-2.
There's no hump, there's no softness at all to that breaking ball. That's just a good hard downer. Very difficult for the hitter to recognize that pitch.
Ransom came from the Yankees in the Lance Berkman trade, along with the minor league second baseman. Paredes. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Melanson from Wheat Ridge, Colorado, was a closer at the University of Arizona. Signed in 06 as the 9th round pick of the Yankees. Then he had Tommy John surgery that year. 25 years old. 3-2 to right. Melanson pitched twice for the Yankees this year, giving up 4 earned runs in 4 innings, and had 13 Yankee appearances last year. Deep drive to left. Carlos Lee back into that wedge area, and that ball is gone. David Wright ties at 3-3 with home run number 18 of the year.
A tough break for Nelson Figueroa. He was in position to win this ball game. Does not diminish what he did here this evening. We were in a tie ball game. David Wright just missed, I think, a home run last time. Backed Carlos up to the bullpen wall. This time he went down and got that low fastball. Reached for it and then unloaded on it.
Carlos Beltran's the batter. Looking at ball 1. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. That's where it landed. Right in the corner of the Landry's Crawford boxes. Now 2-0 for Beltran. Carom shot.
Nice play.
Bet it was.
Right into the headlock.
Grounded into right field past the diving Wallace. Beltran with a single, and the Mets getting on Melanson's pitches.
And Brett Wallace guarding the line there to prevent the extra base hit. And gave Beltran a little more room in the hole, and he was able to exploit it. It's pretty standard operating procedure. Tie game, 8th inning. You're going to guard the line to take away the extra base hit. Melanson from Golden High School out there in Colorado. He's a very good athlete, all-state in baseball, basketball, and football.
Ike Davis is 0 for 2 with a walk. Nobody warming up in the Houston pen right now. Burdack has worked a lot recently. Davis looks at ball 1. A 3-3 game here in the 8th inning. Last night it was 3-1 Mets. They decided it by breaking the tie with 2 in the 9th and winning it 3-1. One ball, 1 strike to Davis. Jeff Francoeur is on deck. Mets have beaten the Astros 6 times in a row now. Atlanta is pouring it on Washington. 10-2 Braves. Bottom of the 8th inning. Diori Hernandez hit his first home run for Atlanta. Bouncer back to Melanson. He throws low. Sanchez has it. On to Wallace. Double play. 1-6-3.
Well, that'll help the Cubs. Ball well struck by Davis, but right back to Melanson. Just got done talking about what a good athlete he was, and he showed you a little leather here. Did not have to get rid of this as quickly as he did, but pretty easy double play.
Well, he has a chance to be recipient of his first major league win. There's strike 1. Jeff Francoeur struck out twice and walked. He would rather have gotten a hold coming in with a 1-run lead in the 8th inning. The Astros have Sanchez, Pence, and Lee due up in the bottom half.
Fresh off the disabled list, Martin Prado picking up where he left off in Atlanta. 3 for 5, a 3-run scored and a couple driven in.
Is he playing third base or second base?
He is playing third base. Fonte's at second.
Stories were that Bobby Cox wasn't sure which way he was going to go with those two. 1-2. The Braves leading the Phillies by 2.5 coming into play tonight. Should be a good race to watch. Low liner scooped on a short hop, and Blum turns it into out number 3. 1 run, 2 hits, nobody left for the Mets. Wright ties it in the 8th inning. It's 3-3.
Clean up aisle 7. Clean up aisle 7.
Throughout the state of Texas. For more information on Chevy's commitment to youth baseball, visit ChevyTexasBaseball.com. A lot of youngsters here tonight. They're watching a 3-3 game, bottom of the 8th inning. Angel Sanchez leads it off for the Astros. He has 2 of the Astros' 8 hits. Johan Santana delivers ball 1. Sanchez also struck out in the 5th inning looking. He'll be followed by Pence and Lee in the Astros' 8. 2-0, 26,279 paid attendance. Watching a good game tonight. Nice fly ball. Goes out toward Beltran. One down for Santana. Gave up 3 in the first inning, and he has slammed the door on the Astros since then. This man provided the 3 runs. Number 17 of the year.
Not surprised in the least that Santana recovered from that first inning the way he did. Matter of fact, kind of expected it.
Hunter Pence since that homer has fly to right and struck out. There's strike 1 to Hunter. In his last 6 games now, Hunter has 11 hits and 23 at-bats. 7 runs, 4 doubles, 2 homers.
He's been doing it all. Making plays in right field, dashing around the bases. Been fun to watch.
It's almost as if he's being revitalized on this much younger Astros club now, although he's only 27. He pokes that one foul. Hunter was a Barry Bonds fan growing up.
Forgive him that.
He's choked up on the bat. He was about 11 years old. He's in very good control of that bat. 1-2. Santana bouncing that one up. Atlanta down Washington 10-2. The final. Mike Minor get his first major league win. Scott Olson. Minor looked good in his start here against the Astros.
Yeah, the Braves really don't need any more pitching, but he's a good young pitcher.
Sure is. 2-2 now. Roy Oswalt won for the Phillies 9-3 over the Giants, beating Barry Zito. Oswalt 8-13, Zito 8-7. Jose Guillen hit his 17th home run. Pat Burrell number 13 for the Giants.
Those guys, Burrell picked up about a little more than a month ago. Guillen just picked up by the Giants.
Now Hunter, after falling behind 0-2, has a 3-2 pitch coming. So the Braves and Phillies both win. Still a 2.5 game margin between the two. High ball, left field. Pagan comes back and it reaches the seats. Hunter pitch with his second home run of the night gives the Astros a 4-3 lead, and he's driven in all four.
That won't be hard to identify the player of the game. 3-run shot in the first. Solo shot in the bottom of the eighth. Could be a game winner. And again, it was the changeup. Got done talking about Santana last inning, how that changeup sometimes cuts in on a righty, and that's exactly what happened.
Now Carlos Lee sends Carlos Beltran back to the warning track. 2 outs. Second multi-home run game by an Astro this season coming from Hunter Pence.
Didn't get out by much. They got out.
Lance Berkman hit 2 homers against Pittsburgh here July 8th. Hunter Pence has hit 2 against the Mets. Will count for all 4 Houston runs. Wilton Lopez warming up for Houston. Chris Johnson the batter. Groups 1 foul, strike 1. He's 0 for 3. The Mets have Tolley, Pagan, and the pitcher spot due up in the 9th inning. Lopez in the bullpen, and not Lyon warming up. Bouncer up the middle, Santana. Reyes over to Davis. Hunter Pence hits his second long ball of the evening. The Astros take a 4-3 lead to the ninth. XJ, that's sleek. Hunter Pence also sleek. Has hit 2 long balls in this game. A 3-run shot in the first off Johan Santana. A solo shot there in the 8th to get the Astros into a 4-3 lead, moving to the 9th inning. And that's 4 runs batted in for Hunter, giving him 18 long balls, 66 runs batted in for the year for the club leader in both those departments. Now it's Wilton Lopez taking over and going for his first save in this 4-3 ball game.
It's kind of fun. Could First Major League win for Melanson and first save for Lopez, at least for this year. I don't know that he's got any saves in his career.
Check.
Guess not, but maybe.
Josh Tolley is the batter. Lopez does not have a save in his Major League career. Tolley fouls it.
You can almost read the factoid now. Elias says the last time the team had a player hit 2 home runs in a game, a pitcher recorded his first win and a pitcher recorded his first career save, was 1923.
Yeah. Well, that's the 6th career multi-home run game. Not a first for Hunter Pence. Foul ball. And it's 0-2. Mark Melanson in 1 inning allowed 2 hits, 1 run. With no walks, no strikeouts. He could get his first Major League win. Lopez could get that first Major League save. And also save Brandon Lyon for tomorrow night. And that's going to be an infield hit. Tolley hit it back to Lopez. He seemed to lose his balance on that one.
He drifts off to the first base side when he finishes his delivery. And he had to reach back for that ball, and so doing, kind of lost his balance. It's a tough break. Tolley's second infield hit in this game. A little ground ball to short, and now this comebacker.
Tried to reach back as he was leaning the other way. Manny Acosta warming up for the Mets.
You know what? If he just bails out, Sanchez probably makes a play for him.
Yep. Angel Pagan struck out looking in the 7th inning. Chris Carter on deck, a left-handed hitter with a pitcher spot due up next. And there's ball 1 for Lopez. There is not anybody warming up in the bullpen.
Clearly, Brandon Lyon not available tonight. Lopez would have had the 8th.
He got his 10th hold on Saturday night against the Pirates. He's not given up a run in 14 outings. Covering 13 and 2/3 innings. But he's now at 2-0 in the count on Pagan.
Good sinker, very good weapon against left-handed hitters. And get it down in the outer third, moving down and away from him. And Pagan tries to yank it. That could be a good double play pitch.
Popped up. Sanchez out into left. Carlos Lee's behind him. Sanchez calling. 1 out for Lopez. It'll be a night of firsts. And now we see the pinch hitter Chris Carter batting for Santana. Santana in 8 innings allowed the Astros 9 hits, 4 runs. He had 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Carter came up in last night's game as a pinch hitter, and he struck out in the 8th inning. Carter's hitting .270. He has 27 hits and 100 at bats. 2 homers, 14 runs batted in for Chris as a pinch hitter, 11 for 37. That was cute, third base side. Lopez, bare hands, throws out at first.
How about that play? Oh my goodness! I didn't think he had a chance. Left-handed hitter?
Didn't look like it. He wound up on the grass after making that good throw.
Yeah, just don't hit it right back to him. That's the key. Make him scramble. Man, was he a cat?
He was. Bounced on it, and then he went into the recliner mode, watching the out call at first.
It's a very athletic play.
Jose Reyes has been a factor tonight. Been on 3 times. He's driven in a run and scored 1. Big cut by Reyes, strike 1. Reyes hit a home run Sunday night in the rain at New York off the foul pole in right field. Reyes has 8 homers, 23 doubles, and 7 triples. Dangerous leadoff man. it's 0-2. This crowd is loving it tonight.
Boy, Lopez showing the ability to throw the off-speed pitch in a situation where you know the adrenaline's just pumping. And there's a tendency to want to overthrow, but he's showing very good touch with that changeup to the left-handed hitters in this inning.
In the air, and three players giving chase. Carlos Lee comes in on the left field line. He's got it. And the Astros win it 4-3. Lopez with his first major league save. Melanson his first major league win. The Astros get all 4 runs batted in from right fielder Hunter Pence. A night of big performances. Final score: Astros 4, Mets 3.